Okay, we are recording. Cool, give me 1 second, 1 second, 1 second, 1 second, 1 second. I'm recording. Okay, cool. So this is just a short video to demonstrate, or I guess to go through all of the changes that I've made on version 3 of the stock analysis cheat sheet, right? So I'm gonna walk through a few things. I added a bunch of stuff. I added 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 items if I count correctly. So I'll just go through them one by one, and hopefully you'll have a good understanding of what they are and how to use them at the end of this video. Okay, so you still have your main spreadsheet, right? I'm doing a $100 giveaway if you fill out the survey about the spreadsheet and give me some feedback. I think I'm gonna do that at the end of the month, so go ahead and get your submissions in if you've already purchased the sheet. If you haven't, if you're seeing this video and you haven't, I'm not sure how you're seeing this video, but get your spreadsheet. Okay, so major updates, right? The first one, or not the first one, but one of them. Did I write this one down? Okay, so here, I added the ability for you to be able to see when the company is having earnings, right? So let me type in another ticker. IDEX, get on my nerves. So May 11th, let's see. Let's try to find, I'm trying to think who has earnings coming up. I think Bank of America has some coming up next week. There we go. July 16th, BMO means before market open. So this ticker is reporting earnings on July 16th. If you put in a ticker and they've moved the earnings date, then it will only show the previous earning. For whatever reason, the site that I'm pulling it in from, it glitches with when they move earnings. So I added this, right? This is new. It's been on there for a while. I just hadn't officially announced it. So some of you may have it already. The next thing that I added, this section here for the bear and bull cross, another name for these is the golden cross and the death cross. It's just a very bare minimum indicator on whether or not it has occurred, right? So a golden cross or a bull cross is a bullish indicator when the 20-day moving average crosses the 50-day, the 20-day moving average crosses the 200-day moving average, right? Or becomes higher than the 200-day moving average. A bear cross or a death cross is when the 20-day moving average dips below the 200-day moving average, okay? So I added those. I kept them super basic because I didn't want to get too deep into what they are. You can do that research on your own and come back to it, but it's just a, again, it's a signal, it's an indicator. It's not a 100% buy, 100% sell deal. It's just, hey, you should be aware this has occurred, right? So another thing that I did with the main sheet is I just tried to clean up some of the, I tried to clean up some of the labeling. I know for some people, they said the sheet was a little bit confusing. So I tried to label it a little bit better. I put this moving averages and support and resistance levels here to identify what this whole section is. And then the same with like the price action and start. I centered them and made them bold so that you can understand these are like the headers. Something else that I did, so with the buy and sell signals, let me scoot this over a little bit because my OCD is bothering me. I basically, I just tried to label them a little bit more accurately because some people were confused when they saw, RSI stable, RSI high, sell, like, so basically with the different RSIs, like, it's just telling you where it is, like, in terms of strength, right? Because usually we have a chart where we can see that it's in a stable range. So for this one, I just added a little bit more description to the labels. And then for the above SMA 20, a lot of people were confused about that too because they hadn't taken Chris Johnson's course or they don't remember that part from Charles's course. So if the SMA or the standard moving average, the 20-day is if the price is above it, right? That's an indicator that the stock is going up and moving in a direction. It's a possible uptrend signal. So I added that. Before it just said yes and no. I added possible uptrend signal, and then no, like no, it's just no. 10% below the SMA 20, I changed it from no, from just no / hold to no / hold / watch, right? Because if the stock, once the stock dips below the 20%, 10% below the 20-day moving average, that's usually an indicator that there's about to be a downtrend. So did I change that label? So I'm gonna change this to yes, possible downtrend. That way it's less confusing. And then support and resistance is the same. I just changed a few colors. You still have the 1 week price trend, 1 month and 3 months, and everything else is the same. So now here are the other additions, right? So remember I added watch list on the last release. And then for this, right? So if your stock is not listed on the exchange, it won't show on this list. Prime example, I think Luckin Coffee must have gotten delisted because it's not showing up. So if you have a stock that's not listed on the New York, like the NYSE, I don't think that it's going to show. I'm still looking into trying to get other stock exchanges, but for now, it has to be on the main exchanges. Next feature, right? So I couldn't get the actual options profit calculator to show in the tab, but what I did do, I linked to the demo video that I recorded on how to use it. And then I also linked to the actual options profit calculator itself. And then in this tab, I just have some snapshots from the actual options profit calculator so that you can see what it looks like, and what you're getting into. That way, once you go and use it, it's really not that confusing. So I highly recommend everybody use this when you're getting into your plays for options. And I left some instructions at the top as well. So that's one new feature. The next thing people ask for this, I threw in the resources tab. So all of the videos and links that I've used and have come across that are good and helped me better understand learning options, I threw those in there. Whether it's a video or a link or whatever, description, the link, and the type are in that tab. And then the next major feature that I added is the trade journals, right? So if you scroll over, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 new tabs. So I basically made you a trade journal for each quarter of the year, right? And I labeled it because some people don't know what the quarters are. Some people don't know. When I say, oh, it's cute, it's time to get ready for Q4. Some people don't know what I'm talking about when I say Q4. So I added the trade journal for each quarter and then also label what each quarter is, right? So now with this, I have all of the things that I recommend you keep track of when you're writing in your trade journal. You don't have to fill all of these in, but I highly recommend that you do, because a lot of times when people come to me with their plays that they've done already and they're trying to analyze, well, what did I do wrong? I'll ask them, well, what was your strike price? What was the stock price when you bought it? What was the volatility? I'll ask them these questions and they don't know. So it's like, well, I can't help you because I don't know what, what the situation was when you bought it. So, I have one example filled in. Some of these are off, like I guessed, because this is like my first trade ever. So I don't remember all of it. But, the date of purchase, the date that you sold it, right? The ticker. So I put a little legend here so you can understand what this ATOP and ATOS is. The stock price at the time of purchase is ATOP. Right? So you got your stock price at the time of purchase, and the ATOS is at the time of sale, right? Just so you can know what that means. So what you need to be tracking, right? I would do this before you buy your contract and just adjust, if let's say the price goes up while you're filling this in, just change the price. But you should know all of these things so that you can go back and research your play and figure out where you messed up or where you went right so you can replicate. Date of purchase, date of sale, the ticker, the stock price at the time of purchase, the strike price, the premium you paid, the expiration, your break-even point, Now, this is important too, because if you have a really wide bid ask spread, meaning like, let's say the bid is like 5 cents and the ask is $1, that means you didn't have no business getting in that trade anyway, because it's going to be really difficult to get out of. So if I have, you know, that piece of analysis right there, I won't even have to research your play. I could tell you, well, right off the bat, you shouldn't have gotten in that contract. So that's why I threw these in here. The bid at the time of purchase, the ask at the time of purchase, the volatility at the time of purchase, the number of contracts you bought, the price at the time of sale, right? The percent profit, which can be negative if your contract is in the negative. And then your total contract equity, right? What your contract was worth when you sold it. Your exit point, right? Which I didn't have one at the time because I didn't have a trading strategy. So I just left a question mark, but you should have one when you fill this in. My profit point, right? I usually aim for 30 to 50%. And then a section if you want to write out notes about when you bought it, like, oh, this company was going into earnings the next day. The news is really good, you know, because it's really hard to remember what frame of mind you were in when you bought your contract if you're doing a bunch of trades. So I definitely recommend to take notes about why you decided to get into this trade. That way, if it goes well and you come back later, it's like, okay, I need to do this again. And if it goes south, you'll know, well, maybe I need to fix my analysis, or, oh, look, that's where I messed up, right? I was just moving too fast. And then it calculates your total profit or loss for the quarter here. This calculation is done based on your total contract equity. So if I put, let's say I got a contract and it puts me, you know, negative $90, right? I can put that there and it'll update my total profit loss for me. So the main column you want to be worried about is the contract equity. And I'm gonna make that the same color. That way hopefully people will catch that as linked. But yeah, so you have this available for every quarter. And I actually need to update let me just do this now. I'm gonna update I just copied and pasted. Y'all, copy and paste will get you every time. Goddamn copy and paste. But yeah, so you'll have this available to you for every quarter. That way you can track, what did you say? Hold on one second. I'll get to your questions in just a second. Just let me finish my train of thought before I forget. This is, what quarter are we in? We're in Q4 now. This is July, September. Q4 is October, November, December. So October to December, that's Q4. And let me fix that here too. October to December. Okay, cool. And then I'll go back and make all of these fine details after I finish the video. But I mean, that's the gist of it, right? You have a trade journal for each quarter that will track your total profit or loss. And this could be very helpful when you're doing your taxes too. So you could keep track of your losses and write those off. But yeah, those are the major ones. Let me go through my list to make sure I got them all. Yes. Okay, cool. So yeah, those are all the major updates to the sheet. Thank you again for supporting me. I really appreciate it. If you have any questions, you can always shoot an email to roster, R-O-S-T-E-R, at shaunataughtme.com. Again, roster at shaunataughtme.com. And yeah, happy trading. Thank you again.